I would say you're always selling the customer, but the cap is a good gauge to know like this one's moving forward or this one's not moving forward, right? We're not still, I mean, we're still trying to get a first down and move the chains and get the customer interested and keep them going. But I want to be pretty clear just before the cap happens, the 90% of this job is mental slash emotional. And I feel like when you're newer and experienced, I feel like sometimes we forget. We get paid quite a bit of money to not have like a license or we're not like doctors. We didn't go 9 years of schooling to go into solar sales. And I think we get this false representation where we're like, what the heck, this job is hard, or I'm getting everyone saying no and everyone's canceling, and the job is not meant to be easy, and that's why everyone can't do it. But also, you got to rewind. All of you either got introduced by a friend and you filled out an application, or you went on Indeed and filled it out, and all you had to do is really impress somebody at an interview, and you have the opportunity to kind of like change your life and make thousands of dollars per house, right? And so I just want to I like to put that in perspective sometimes. I think sometimes people, we overlook like, man, this job, and this, and people cancel and people aren't interested. The job's not meant to be easy, even though it was pretty easy to get into the job. And so there's a lot of people that would love to be in your shoes. So I wanted to talk about this really quickly before we dive into caps, because there's a lot of new people on this call, and I'm sure maybe your managers, if you guys have seen this before, but maybe your managers have gone over it. But I love talking about this because when you first start a job or you first start anything exciting, you really have no idea what's really going on. You're uninformed optimism. You're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, I actually don't know anything, but I love it, right? Then you start understanding the job and you slowly get down, unfortunately, to phase three, which is the valley of despair, where you're like, holy cow, this job is hard. People say no. You don't make millions of dollars month one in the job, right? Most of you make, 500 bucks your first couple deals, then you get a couple caps, make couple thousand bucks. It takes a month or two or three to get your first install, maybe, which is, three, four, $5,000, somewhere in that range. And then you're like, holy crap, this is actually not as easy as it sounds and as it looks. Everyone made it look really easily and it sound really easy in phase one. I interviewed, the homeowner doesn't pay anything and they get something at no cost and potentially saves them money or adds a ton of value to their life. This is awesome. Why would anybody say no? And then you start realizing, obviously, it's hard work, right? You got to go out every day. You got to talk to a lot of people. A lot of people, they believe, you're some sort of scam or whatever. You get down to phase three, and then you slowly start coming out of it. I'll open this question. How do you get up to phase five? So a lot of you could be in phase one to phase three right now. How do you get to phase five? I'd love to hear an answer or two. What do we think?
Confidence.
Resilient.
All right. What was the other one?
Resilience, he said.
Resilience. Okay. Not the answers I'm looking for, but I like them. All right, Chris Patterson. Tell me your first suggestion. Commitment is good, but what was your first suggestion, Chris Patterson?
Time.
Time. It's on the screen right here at the very bottom. You literally can't skip phases. I want to be very clear on this. A lot of you, maybe you've sold your first couple deals and one of them canceled, and you're like, what the heck? Like, people cancel? I thought everyone was going forward. If everyone that I have ever talked to went forward, I would not be on. I've told you guys this a lot. I would not be on this phone call. I would be owning a private island with a jet and a helicopter, and I would be a very wealthy person if everybody I've ever talked to in the last 12, 13 years said yes to solar. Okay. So time, you have to give it time. You have to keep putting in the time in order to get through these phases quickly. Okay. So don't beat yourself up. You're not, nothing is wrong with you. People actually love you. It's just the timing of when you presented the offer could be bad. So my job and manager's job is to keep you on this dotted line. If you get an AC, awesome. If you get a VC, awesome. If you close a cap, sweet. But your emotions should never be too high and too low. If I get an AC, I'm kind of like, whew, all right, I got to start the whole process with this person. I'm not like skating down the street like they freaking gave me the bill. I'm the greatest salesman in the world. I'm like, wait a minute. They didn't literally do anything. They just gave me one piece of paper. I took a couple photos and maybe it's going to work out and it's probably not going to work out. And I don't want to be like the Debbie Downer, but I see it too many times in new people where people get so excited when they close a deal, which is awesome. We want to be excited closing deals, but they start calculating the paycheck in their mind, and we still got a long ways to go. Okay. The best time to get excited is when you drive in your neighborhood and people are installing the solar panels on the house that you sold 2 months ago. That's when you can be like, this is awesome. I'm so stoked. That paycheck's getting in my bank account. Okay. All right, let's get into caps. I just want a quick little message today. I've seen, obviously I see on all the chats and stuff, and I love it. I want this job to be super exciting and everyone be excited. But nothing stresses me out when someone's like, just closed the 13 kilowatt, $9,500 commission in my pocket. I'm like, oh, not yet, not yet, not yet. Let's not calculate the pay until that baby's on the roof. Okay. When it gets on the roof, I want you to blow your chat up and be like, dude, this is a $15,000 commission. Been working with this one for a while. That's when we get excited. Cool. All right. Also, it's very good to know this, where accounts should cancel the most, okay? So the most often cancels are when you first meet with the customer to trying to get back in front of them to close the customer. So we call it an AC, obviously. So AC to VC is when most people cancel. That's if you looked at your business and you're like, all right, where are all my cancels happening? They should be happening from knocking on their door, talking to them, getting the photos, and then before you get back to them, they text you and say, hey, we're actually not interested, or they ghost you, or they don't get back in front of them. Okay, that's most often. The next most often is after you VC them and they're scheduled for their site survey. Customers will cancel before the survey actually happens. That's the next most often cancel. The not as often is a survey was done at the house and you're waiting for the cap to be back. Obviously, they've seen you a couple times and they had someone go to their house and survey their house, and they're just waiting for the cap or the final design. And then rare, I mean, less than 10% of your business should cancel after you've capped them. Okay. So this is why we say building a pipeline is very important, and selling an account every single day is crucial, because you're constantly filling in that pipeline where you know cancels are going to happen. You're already mentally prepped for them, and you're not hanging on to dear life on one account every single week. If you're only creating an account every week, like you can be, it's a long road in the valley of despair, right? You got to have a lot of time. You got to put in some effort as well. Okay. All right. Here's a screenshot for new people. Just wanted to lay it out there. This is the process. I'm not going to go over it too much, but AC, VC, site survey, corporate does a design, final huddle, we cap it, we permit it, install happens, inspection, and then the customer gets permission to operate or PTO. So screenshot this if you want it. You can look at it if you're like, all right, I got an AC, I need to do the VC next. All right, then the site survey happens, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's talk about caps. So I wanted to talk about like going to the cap appointment. Um, I think I don't. This is Cameron's thinking, so this is not like Sunrun or like Bible, but I think if you don't have 100 career installs, and I would even say most people that have more than 100, they still go to their cap appointments. I think it's a good practice. Um, so if you're brand new, absolutely, you should be going in person and meeting with the customer one more time to kind of solidifying the deal. Um, I think if you're like, hitting franchise every quarter, which most people on this call probably aren't, or like market leaders and stuff, if there's a cap A that's clean and nothing's wrong and they have a good rapport with the customer, maybe it's a phone call and they're closing the account. But I believe that cap should be in person with 95% of people, especially mostly everyone on this call. So I like to go back. Remember, the customer's waiting to see the results, right? So I like to schedule a time where I go back. I'm in area every day, obviously, so it's not weird to go back and out of the way. Maybe if it's a referral, like, I don't know, hours and hours away or a different state, obviously I'm probably closing the cap over the phone. But I just think it's a good way to touch the customer one more time, be in front of them, and then the next step is install. So I like using this little sheet at the VC appointment. Also in the pamphlet, it's basically in there now. If you have pamphlets, you can get this. So this is what it looks like. Remember, so we've already closed the account, and now we're doing the cap. So those that are new, this is like the third, fourth time that we're meeting with the customer. So if you're new like this week or last week, like take this trading with a grain of salt. Don't get overloaded. But this is what I bring out at every single cap. Okay. I love to manage their expectations at the VC so they know what's coming, but also they've never gone solar, right? So they have no idea what is next. They don't know what to do. You're the one that's guiding them through the process. Okay. I like this sheet, just gives you direction and where to go. And remember, at the cap appointment, we aren't reselling them why solar is cool and not going over a bunch of stuff. We're selling, like, they got approved is the goal, and we're walking them through the process. We're not like, oh my gosh, yeah, the results came back great. You're going to save so much money. Oh my gosh, your savings. Let me calculate it for you. We're not calculating savings. People don't go solar because to save money, right? And so we're selling them on the idea of good news. The home checked out. Here's what we got to do next. That's the goal of it. Like, everyone does it if they get approved. Obviously, it's like a no-brainer. And I've talked about that at the VC. Cool. So let's go into it. This is the syntax of the cap close. So when I walk into a cap appointment, this is exactly what I'm going over. And it doesn't matter if it's a cap A, B, C, or D. I'm going over the same structure. I'm going to show you each scenario on every slide. Okay. So I want to build some rapport and reconnect with them. Remember, this is the third time I've been in their house. Okay. So to me, I'm like, I know this person pretty well, right? I talked with them at the AC. I came back and sat in their house for probably an hour at the VC and gathered some, data that I know. And then I'm coming back one more time. So we're like, I would say we're almost like friends at this point. Like, they know who Cameron is, and I know who they are, right? So I'm going to reconnect really quick. How was the dance recital? Just small talk. Oh, I heard like Labor Day was just happening. Like, what'd you guys do for Labor Day? Like, something is always there to talk about. So you don't just walk in and you're like, let me show you the cap. Like, people will be like, whoa, like, are you like a normal person? I want to be the friend that does solar, but not the solar guy. I want to be, oh, Cameron's my friend, happens to do solar. Okay. After I've built rapport, so 5 minutes, a lot of people get into like the nitty gritty again of, oh man, your design's the same, looks great, everything. They want to know just how the survey went, right? They just had a guy come crawl on their roof, crawl in their attic, take a million photos of their house. They're like, so what's up, right? Like, how did that go? Okay. So I want to ask them one quick question on how the survey went. So how did the survey go? I usually ask, was the guy on time and was he like polite, professional? The reason I like to ask this is 98% of the time, the guy was great, surveyor was good, our ops team is awesome, and they typically are always on time. There are some things that happen. You know, there's a flat tire, there's a wreck, whatever. Usually they're very good on letting us know that. And so I always want to ask them if they're like, oh, yeah, he was right on time. Oh, was he professional? Oh, yeah, he's great. He was like super polite and upfront, like great. If they're telling me this, I'm like, good news. Let's move on. Right. If they're like, he was a little late, I want to gather that info so I don't like just brush it off. It makes you sound like you're respectful of them and their time. Like I said, most of it's like, yeah, he was good. Everything was good. I'm like, all right, cool. If they're not like wanting to talk about it, great, move on. But I want to gather something if something did go wrong or he was late or hey, we didn't know we had to get up in the attic, so he like had to crawl up in there. That's not his fault. That's your fault, right? You should have been telling them, hey, we have to have attic access. We have to go in your attic and check the beams and structure. So some of the things they blame the surveyors, but really I want to take the blame if I didn't manage their expectations properly. Okay. All right. Then I go over the process. Remember, electric panel roof structure. I'll go into next steps in the soft seat of the ACH if you didn't get it. Introduce the CX Pro, and then I sign documents and get ACH. Okay. So this is the syntax. I'm going to role play a Cap A, but I do the same exact wording and verbiage to all of them. It's just I got to change, you know, if the roof didn't pass or electrical panel or vice versa. Okay. This is my one-liner to get ACH. I know there's a lot of managers and leaders in your office that do an awesome job at training. So this is not like the only one-liner, but I like to do this when I'm grabbing ACH. Like, hey, Sunrun requires you have an active account. You can pay your bill in the future when we submit the application to permit. I'll set that up with you in just a minute in the app, and you can get the discount for doing auto pay. They get a discount, remember, for doing auto pay. And I like to soft seed that at the step right here. So on the next steps, which like I said, I'm going to role play this. So I like to soft seed and use the one-liner right here, then introduce the CX Pro, then do the CAP package, and then gather ACH. Okay. Just like when we transition into a home, I tell them I'm going to go look at the breaker box, but I don't just barge in their house right there. Hey, I'll take a picture of the breaker box in a minute. Is it downstairs or in the basement or in the garage like everyone else? Oh, it's in the garage. Okay. I'll take a picture in a minute. The second thing, we need your utility bill, blah, blah, blah. I go in there. I'm like, all right, cool. I got an appointment down the street. Let's go look at that breaker box. I soft seeded it. I also soft seed the agreement in the VC before I sign the VC. Same thing. Anything that may be like, ooh, ACH or ooh, I got to give them my banking and routing information. I'm going to soft seed. Hey, they require us to put it on file before we submit the permits and application. You get a discount for doing so. I'm going to help you set it up in the app, like the Sunrun app, right before I leave in just a minute. Okay. All right. Here's what the app looks like. I went over this on the last one a couple weeks ago. Just screenshot it so you know where to go. But these are 4 different pages. Okay. So when you log in, it looks like this. They click the account, go to billing, manage, and do the auto pay. I think it's best to do auto pay in the app. I literally think we can collect it on the checkout page. I just believe ACH is definitely best because it's on their phone. It's way more comfortable for them. It tells them the discount right here. It tells them they're in control and can do whatever they need to on and off. Right now we have 6 for 6 going. So I think ACH is very easy to collect because you have something to tell them to collect it for. When that goes away though, obviously you got to be really good at telling them that they have to have ACH on file without getting a corporate 6 months paid for. Okay. So this is something you're going to have to get good at. Ben, I see you have a question. I usually have questions at the end, but, your question is, what is CX Pro? Every time you close an account and you cap it, Customer experience professional. So the operations team, a CX pro is assigned to every account. So I'll role play it. It'll make more sense here in just a minute. So if you still have a question at the end, I'll open it up for questions. Okay. So screenshot this and make sure you know how to navigate the app. All right. There's 4 different types of caps, and they're all lettered. A, B, C, D. Pretty easy. A cap A, all that means is nothing. After we surveyed the house, nothing changed. The design's the same, the pricing's the same, nothing was wrong with the house. The roof is good, electrical panel's good. Their house is solar ready. We didn't have to, when we met with them, whatever we told them is the exact same that's going to happen. So we love cap A's. Cap A's are nice. Cap B is something changed with the price or production that you told them. So let's say we sold them 20 panels and we surveyed the house and we like, oh, this roof is actually 2 different roofs and we've got to lose 5 panels and we can only do 15. You're going to get a cap B because all the numbers changed, right? Whatever you told them before the survey, it had to be changed slightly, either positive, negative, whatever. Cap C is something was physically wrong with the home. Okay. SOW means scope of work. So scope of work, meaning their roof didn't pass, their electrical panel didn't pass, something was wrong with the structure of the house. Maybe there's a big bush in front of their meter. Something's in front of their electrical panel that needs to be moved. There's just something that is either the homeowner or Sunrun has to take care of physically before we can move forward with solar. Okay. And then a cap D is everybody's ultimate favorite. It's a B and a C combined. So something changed with the pricing, up or down, or the how many panels, and something's wrong with the house. So the roof is bad, electrical panel is bad, something, is in front of the meter, whatever. Okay. So these are all the caps, A, B, C, or D. If you're new, this is why it's important that your first couple deals are done by an experienced person, because they're going to get it all the way to install and you can learn from that. It's really hard to kind of, I guess, digest all of this when you're brand new. That's why we have the assist program and mentors to help out. Okay, I'm going to role play a cap A. I'm not going to role play all of them, but I'll show you. It's pretty easy that nothing in the syntax changes. I just have to tell them something went wrong, right? So here's a cap A. So I'm going to role play this, and then the next slide, I'll just walk through the other ones. So remember, I'll talk as if you guys are the customers. Cool. So how'd Labor Day go? Blah, blah, blah. I built some rapport. How'd the surveyor go? When the survey came, was he on time? He was? Okay, perfect. He was like polite, professional. Okay, great. We obviously strive to have like really good customer experience. So just want to make sure he was good. My job is to make sure all those things happen accordingly. So here's the results. So the surveyor obviously took a lot of photos of the electrical panel, the roof, and the structure of the home. Good news, the engineers, the electrical engineers, they approved everything in the house. There was nothing wrong with your panel. Everything checked out good. It's solar viable, like no issues there. Your roof also checked out. We had talked that, your roof was like 12 years old, so it's got a ton of life left. But Sunrun feels comfortable warrantying where we put the panels, where your roof is. And so it passed as well from the roofing engineers. And then the last thing was the structural engineer also felt the house is in great shape, and they signed off on it and put their seal on it to basically warranty it structurally. So good news, everything checked out good. Here's kind of the next steps. We are going to submit, right? So next steps is this. So I go over all the next steps. We're right here. In just a second, I'm going to set you up with the Sunrun app. I also want you to get the discount by doing the auto pay. So Sunrun requires, before we submit the permits and everything, that you have that set up in the app. Not only do you get the auto pay, but it's just one of the requirements. So I'm going to set you up with the discount. You guys pay your utility right now, auto pay also, don't you? You don't like write a check out anymore, do you? Okay, cool. So it's really simple and easy. I'll set it up on your phone so you have it in the app. It's going to track everything. After we submit this final design, we've got to get the permits through the township, and the utility company has to approve this design that's final. Okay, so everything checked out. This step could take like 3 to 5 weeks. Remember, this is my area that I would sell in. So if your permits take 1 week, put 2 to 3 weeks. If they take a month, I always like to obviously under promise and over deliver. After they approve everything, we could come and actually do the work. So we can come and install, and the electrical happens the same day. It's honestly like not too exciting. It's like 6 to 8 hours. They don't really need you. They have to be by the electrical panel, but it's pretty quick and easy. Just a reminder, when your panels get installed, we're about 70% of the way there. We still have to get a couple steps done. So you're going to have solar sitting on your house. It's not going to be doing anything for a little bit. So I just want to be very upfront with you that that's what happens. After the install, we have to schedule the inspection with the township to close the permit out that we got. The township is pretty finicky. I don't know if you guys have ever scheduled anything with the township before. By the way, 90% of people are like, oh, they're the worst. I hate the township. I don't know why everybody hates their town inspector or whatever. It's just like a thing. I'm like, yeah, so we have to schedule with the town and with your schedule to make sure like when the inspector is available, and one of our people have to go and meet them at your house to verify we did everything properly. So they work Monday through Thursday. They have like a cake schedule, and they tell us the arrival window is like 8 to 4 p.m. So it's like kind of crazy, but just so you're aware, that's why it takes a little time. Is we're doing a lot of things behind the scene, and we're kind of subject to the township, unfortunately, but don't worry, we'll get to the finish line. After the township comes and inspects and does everything properly, we then can submit everything to your utility company to make sure everything's good to go. It's been inspected, design looks good, and then they give you permission to operate your system. Sometimes they're going to switch out the meter outside. If you already have the digital meter, they may just say you're good to go, and you can flip the switch outside. I'll try to come by and help you set that up as well. Cool. Do you guys have questions about the remaining process? I like to ask questions there. Why? Because if they're saying, hey, has the township ever failed anybody? Have you failed inspections? Or, oh, how long does it take this to do this? Those are good questions. Again, they're telling you, let's move forward. If they say, hey, so how much am I going to save? Or like, let me, what was the numbers again? I know, okay, they're still hung up. And if I don't answer these questions and get it out right now, they're just going to go and look up stuff and read stuff, and they're basically going to try to talk themselves out of it, right? Most customers should at this point be like, all right, cool. So the install, do I have to be here, or does someone else? Like, they're already assuming that they're going to get installed, okay? And then you notice I already wrote ACH discount at the VC, and it's already there. So I'm telling them, hey, remember, right before I leave, I'm going to set you up with that discount, so you get the 5% discount on your electricity by having auto pay turned on. Okay, so that was next steps. After I go over next steps, I like to introduce them to the CX Pro. So not physically or whatever, but I'm letting them know, hey, just a heads up, here in the next like 3 to 6 days, you're probably going to get a call or an email from a customer experience professional. It's kind of like my assistant that helps, basically another set of eyes on your account. They're going to update you when things happen accordingly. Okay. They're super awesome. They're really nice. They're not going to like bug you or anything. I'm always the guy you can call and contact, but I'm just wanting you to know when someone calls you from Sunrun, it's just your personal assistant to guide your account. There's a lot of moving parts, so we have another set of eyes that go on it. You guys don't have to do anything. Cool. All right. Let me set you up with that Sunrun app. Do you have your phone? Okay. Go to the App Store and type in Sunrun. Sweet. Let's set up that ACH. That's it. Go up, set the ACH, and you're out of there. Remember, A cap A, I don't have to sign anything. So I'm going over next steps, introducing the CX Pro. Then I'm going, all right, perfect. Let's set up that Sunrun app. It's going to have everything in here also. Do you have your smartphone on you, or you want to use like an iPad? And then I'm going in, I'm getting ACH. Okay. Cap B, same syntax. Pop quiz. Let's see. Hey, Devin Brady, because you got a lot of pressure on you. Come off of mute. What's wrong with a cap B? Don't look on the screen.
Cat B is something with the project needs to be adjusted,
With the project, I need more clarification on that.
like roof, MPU. I'm assuming.
Oh, Devin's
No,
not
right?
listening. If Willie's still on, Devin, that's a cap C. Cap B is pricing.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I forgive you. So cap B is the production. So the kilowatts that you told him either went up or down, like something happened with the price. So I told the customer, hey, your new electric bill is $128, blah, 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 at the VC. That 128 either went up or down because something at the survey happened. Okay. So if you notice, the only thing I'm doing is I'm soft seeding documents on the process. So rapport, talking about the survey. All right, sweet. Good news. Everything physically checked out at the house. I'm going to go over the electric panel, the roof. The one thing is we actually were able to add 7 more panels on the back because we weren't sure if we could. So good news is you're getting more of your power from the solar. So I got to send you an updated design. And the monthly great news is you're getting more power from the solar. So you're going to save more money. Cool. I'll send that to you in a second. We just have to sign off on the final design. Okay. Going over electrical, roof, next steps, same thing. Going detailed into, how the permits work, how the install is going to work, the 70%, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm sending them the cap package. Hey, let me send you that final design. And then I'm going to set up your Sunrun app so you get the ACH discount. And we got to submit that for the permit. Cool. Same thing. Here's a couple tricks for cap Bs. Remember, it's either you upsizing or a downsizing. Upsizing means you put 10 panels on the house, but you're like, man, this customer needs more. And you can't tell until the survey happened and maybe we added 10 more panels. Great. That's upsizing the system. Downsize is meaning the roof was too small. There was something unexpected that we didn't see from satellite, and we had to lose panels. It shouldn't happen very often, especially with the tools that we have. But it does happen, right? I believe cap Bs can be solved by making sure in the design preferences, when you close an account, you tell the corporate team that you want to stay within green pricing. Green pricing means you want anything possible to not get a cap B back. It doesn't mean you'll never get it, but it tells the designer like, oh, this person wants to stay in green pricing, which doesn't want a cap B to come back, right? So I believe cap Bs can be really avoided. So if you're getting a lot of cap Bs, that's not Sunrun's fault. I believe it's actually your fault on getting cap Bs. So offline with your leader on what this means if you're confused, or you can shoot me a text or email and I can explain it further. But the design preferences in the checkout when you close a deal. All right, cap C. Cap C, I was going to pop quiz, but I kind of told it. This is something that the customer, something's wrong with their house physically. Their roof, electrical panel, a clearance issue by their meter or something is wrong, okay? So rapport, go over the site survey. I'm going to soft seed the documents on what thing is wrong, okay? So the pricing is good. We don't even need to talk about it. Everything's good. So let's say they have a cracked beam in their attic, okay? And we need to sister their rafters together, and we're gonna pay for it. It's $1,000, whatever. Okay. So I'm like, good news, electrical panel checked out. They didn't find any issues there. They feel comfortable doing that. The roof, great, checked out. You got a lot of life left on the roof, so we feel comfortable warranting that. They did find one issue in your attic. You have 2 cracked beams that we want to reinforce and make sure we're comfortable installing on it. So we're gonna come and add 2 extra beams next to that beam that's cracked. It's called sistering. Sunrun, good news, I got it paid for. So we're gonna pay our contractor. He's gonna come and fix that before the install, of course. But I just got to give you a heads up. I'll have you sign a thing that's saying that obviously we're paying for it and taking care of it, which I'm really grateful we caught because, obviously a cracked beam is not something you want to, let linger on forever. Next steps, CX Pro, sign the cap package, Sunrun app ACH. Same exact order. Something was wrong, so I'm telling them what it is inside my order. I don't want to go in and be like, dude, you got cracked beams, all right? We're just going to sign this, take care of it. Any questions? It's like I'm going over the same thing and acting like it's no big deal. This is just part of the thing. We find issues all the time. And then lastly, Cap D obviously is both. So you got to tell them it's just one document you got to get signed, but the pricing changed and something was wrong. So these ones you'll spend a little bit more time with, but you can see on the screen, I don't change a dang thing on my process. So it's the same exact syntax, same exact order that I go over things. I just got to let them know, hey, we got to sign this new design with the design changed, and your electrical panel needs some work that we're going to take care of. Okay. I'll send you that final design. We got to sign off, and then we'll set up the Sunrun app and enroll you in the ACH so you get the discount. Okay. All right. So these are the caps. The biggest thing is just having a process. I think a lot of people, they may botch caps because they don't have an actual process to go over. Again, that's why I love leaving with this to the customer. When I walk into a cap, I'm like, hey, do you have that paper that I left with you when I first met with you? And if they threw it away, I get a new one out. I'm like, all right, let me roll through this. Or most people save it because I tell them to. I'm just going to walk over the steps with them. Pretty simple and easy. And they're like, oh, we got approved. This is a no-brainer, right? I'm not reselling the idea of solar. Cool. All right. I got a couple minutes so we can open it up for questions. If you don't have a question and you want to roll and get out there after it, I respect that. So you're good to go. Call is essentially over. If you have questions, though, please hang on. You can type them in the chat box, or you can raise your hand and I'll call on you and come off of mute. Chris, where can we get these papers? Remember this paper, you can email me. See my email right there? So just email me and say, I want the steps in the process, and I'll send you the PDF. I go to Staples and print, I don't know, 40 of them off for $5, and they're double-sided. So they're 2 papers, so you get 80 of them essentially. All right. Any other questions?
The app that you're talking about where the accounts are, is that just in Teros once the account becomes active?
No, that's one. That's the one app where you create the account.
Okay, okay.
Yep. So one is doing all of your business. Teros is just a canvassing knocking app. That's it.
Yep.
So you won't conduct any designs or business or documents or anything outside of one. One will do everything. Hence the name One, All right. I don't see anybody's hands raised. All right. Just like everything, practice makes perfect. You got to practice and role play these things just like you did your pitch, just like you did the VC, to get good at them. So, all right, we'll end the call here. Reach out if you need anything, or your leaders. I trust them fully. They're the best in the business as well. And you guys all have amazing leaders to follow. So if you have questions, them or I will be able to help. Have a big Thursday, and we'll see y'all next week.